Aloha morning, everyone. This is Chiboola, Malaambo. And I was out for a walk in this beautiful valley up in Waimea on the island of Oahu. And I started thinking about you. You, meaning those people that really are ready to eliminate fear out of their lives. Now, if you've watched the video, Eliminate All Fear, then you've put some time into thinking about yourself. It's much more difficult for an adult, a grown-up, so to speak, to let go of fear. Why? We're taught it, we absorb it uh, from the beginning of consciousness, and what we connect to in that way is difficult for us to let go of because we attach to it. So we attach to what we learn. And sometimes we think that's good for us, appropriate, supports us, when it can actually work in the opposite direction and have the opposite effect. So today, this is a short video on the next step. The initial video, Eliminate All Fear, is very long, and it goes into a meditation and where we end up putting our fear on a shelf, that is, placing it in a separate place, removing it from us, and then simply feeling that experience of how that feels to be fearless. Now, this is certainly not the only way to eliminate fear, but I wanted to invite all of you to have the experience of being fearless so you know what that's like. Now what we want to do is look at some other ways to let go of fear. I highly recommend that you watch some of my children's videos. They're very entertaining, I think, on how to change fear into love. So I'll attach some links at the end of this video so you can get to those, the entire playlist actually. And now I want to talk a little bit about what to do after you've had that initial experience of fearlessness and your fear is on that shelf. And what do we do the next day? What do we do the next week? What do we do the rest of our lives? So let's go. Thank you. It's good to experience everybody. The roots of fear are extremely deep. They go deep into our subconscious. However, they are not so deep as to escape the power of imagination. That is why our videos on turning fear into love and escaping all fear in the meditation, we invoke imagination. Think to yourself, is there anything that you cannot do with your imagination? You go ahead and answer that. And of course the answer is that you can do anything with your imagination. And that's why we invoke that. When the child is feeling uncomfortable, which means there's some state of fear active, then the child can first say to themselves or say out loud, I am me, I am me. Taking a breath, I am me. What that does is that it brings our attention away from the images that this discomfort is attached to and brings our awareness to ourselves. When we walk into a room and we go into a meditation and we imagine as we're breathing that we're taking our fear and placing it on a shelf, or with the kids that are putting their fear under the sand, or putting it into a bubble, or watching it float away, or putting it in a magic egg, or giving it to a bird to carry away, or putting it up in an apple tree, or sending it to the dentist. All of this is invoking, first of all, your awareness coming to ourselves, and then invoking the imagination, which the children call the magic mind. Then as they do that, they connect with their ability to change their relationship with this uncomfortable feeling. So the child is first, I am me, bringing their attention to themselves. Next, I am love, bringing their awareness to that whatever they do, that they can do what they want in life, which we all want to do. That's the freedom of love, without hurting anyone and without hurting ourselves. And they start to think of themselves in that sense. The awareness goes to who they are and what they're doing, which is being love. And that shifts this entire relationship with the uncomfortable feelings that they're having. And all of a sudden, those uncomfortable feelings melt away, and that child begins to feel very good, just as the adult does after placing fear on that shelf. These roots cannot escape the power of your imagination. Fear can be so heavy, like a huge boulder that rests on our being, our shoulders, our minds, our thoughts, our bodies. But water is not. Fear is like a boulder, and our imagination is like water. No matter how large the boulder is, we can still flow. As an adult, it is so hard to deal with fear. Why? Because you're not a child anymore. So that's why I ask that, in a sense, experiment, flow, loosen, soften. Become again as a child. You were not born with those fears. No, we're not born with a fear of a snake, a spider, or fire, or anything else. We are born with the ability to play, which we will discuss later. But using our imagination, you adults out there, you powerful, creative adults, turn yourself into a child. How can you figure out when you don't feel good? As the kids say, bad, mad, or sad. What can you do in that moment to adjust yourself to your magic mind, to where you want to be? How can you take the first step? I want you to be creative. How can you get to I am me? Sit, take a breath. Stand, take a breath. Think of the feeling. I am me. Look at your body, look at your hands. Look in the mirror at your face. Look at your feet. Feel the presence of your physical being. Anything you come up with, you are creating your own system to get to I am me. Then, how can you get to I am love? Realizing you are not whatever it is that is disrupting you. You are not that decision. You do not have to be that decision. You can be something else. You can be love. You can choose love in any moment. And even if you hadn't chosen it the moment before, you can choose it in the moment now. Whenever those boulders appear, you can turn yourself into water and come up with your own ways of getting to I am love. Using the power of your imagination, just as those children use the power of their magic minds. You can get to I am me and I am love. And then once you get there, you can begin to create a completely new experience from that state of fearlessness. We are not animals. Animals, fight or flight, that isn't the fear. That's a reaction to a fear. Human beings are not animals in that sense. Human beings can take react and turn it into create. We take reactions and turn them into creations. So we do not have to simply react with fight or flight anytime we're uncomfortable. We can create that which is very, very loving, powerful, and beautiful, flowing like water with our magic minds of imagination. All of you are so powerful. It amazes me just to think about it. Powerful in that you hold the ability to recreate yourselves and transform yourselves into what you desire to be, to live your life the way you want. And if you choose to live your life fully in alignment with love, then the steps are very simple. And there's only 3 of them. 1, align with love, which means you make a choice, and you can make it now or anytime you want. And that choice is to live your life doing whatever you desire to do in all of its creativity and all of its energy and all of its passion. And when we do that, then our choice is to do it and not harm intentionally or abuse another, and not harm intentionally or abuse ourselves. The second step is eliminate fear. Why? Because if we hold on to fear, we create through fear. And that becomes disastrous. It leads to rage, jealousy, violence, and all the things that we're looking at on our planet everywhere we look. Greed, selfishness, dominance, power over control. The third step is to begin creating the life you desire. And so many ways. Today we're just talking about eliminating fear. And there's so many ways. You can imagine sometimes that, let's say there's a short wall between you and whatever is occurring that's causing your discomfort. Whatever you're looking at in your mind's eye, whatever you're reading in the newspaper, watching on the television, whatever you see on the street occurring. And you step behind that short wall, and when you do, you can see differently. What you're putting behind that short wall is the hook on your emotion. It's not that you don't care about what's going on the other side. It's that you're surrendering the ability to pull your emotions, to hook you in. And you're giving that up. So that on that short wall, you can watch what happens. You can watch what's happening. But you no longer hurt from it. That clears your mind, and it creates a pathway for you now to go back and say, you know, what can I do about this? How can I affect this? How do I want to show up in relationship to all of these things that are occurring? Step behind that short wall. Sometimes you can imagine that you're in a theater and you're watching all of life on a stage. All of it is scripted, it is occurring, and none of it is truly real, to the extent that it holds the power to harm you. Many, many ways, and I'm inviting you to invoke your own creative imagination in coming up with these ways to release your fear. And then we can get on with step 3, which is the creation of a magnificent life that's free of emotional pain and suffering. So, thanks for coming by today. And I think next time we're going to discuss what causes our emotional pain. And there are only a few causes of them. And we'll look at that. And you will discover that. All I do is ask questions. I'm not here to give you anything. I don't need to give you information or answers. I will never do that. I will only give you questions. Why? Because when someone gives you the answer, you follow them. Then you never hold your own power. Someone has led you to the answer, you see. They've handed it to you. But when you come to the answer yourself, when you answer your own questions, then something else occurs. Something very magnificent. Self-empowerment, self-sufficiency, self-creative. And my joy is all about watching that occur. Have you noticed, by the way, that I have not mentioned the word subscribe? Have you noticed that? Thumbs up or anything? Why? Because I'm not here for that. I'm not here to get something from anybody. because I don't need it. I'm here because I love each and every one of you, and I know that you all have the power to contribute to making this world a better place, and that's what I'm about. And I bow to each one of you in acknowledging who you really are, even if you haven't done that yourself. Aloha from the islands.
What we gonna do? Every one of you has a unique creative potential. Your own genetics, your mind, your divine human body. We all create through our thoughts, our words, and our actions. What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do?